Remember these? In 2008, it means buying exchange-traded funds. Inflation is now a worldwide issue. State Street introduced the WIP as an inflation hedge.
The WIP is the Spider Deutsche Bank International TIPS ETF, symbol WIP, World Inflation Protection. The genesis of this ETF really came from our institutional side of the business. We're hearing a lot of demand from corporations, foundations, endowments for international TIPS, really to further diversify their international TIP exposure. And with world inflation, it was perfect timing. We've seen WIP grow to almost 100 million in just over 2 months of trading.
Grocery and gas prices steadily rising. Tony Rochte, Senior Managing Director at State Street Global Advisors, says investors are clamoring for more ways to hedge.
One thing we've heard from investors is provide exposure for the U.S. market. In addition, we want international exposure. And TIPS is an area that's been in great demand. A lot of our corporate and institutional clients have been looking for non-U.S. TIPS through the WIP, but we still see demand for U.S. listed TIPS. And our IPE, our Spider TIP ETF, really provides that exposure. And what we see investors doing is really gaining precise exposure to the U.S. sleeve, precise exposure to the international sleeve, both in an inflation-backed environment.
And as for gold, the mother of all inflation fighters?
How does one allocate between the WIP, which is a global inflation hedge, and gold, the GLD?
One of the things we've learned over the years, different constituents use ETFs for very different reasons. And both of these vehicles, the GLD and the WIP, really provide access for investors to reach into the market and get unique exposure. The GLD, as you know, is a commodity-backed exchange-traded fund, and really is backed by a raw metal. When you look at the WIP, that international TIP ETF is actually backed by government-issued bonds, and as such, it pays a monthly coupon. And the coupon has both an income component and an inflation component that is paid on a monthly basis. So I think both will give you similar exposure, but the attributes are very different.
So put away those silly pins, leisure suits, and platform shoes. Inflation may be making a comeback, but disco is still dead. Greg Greenberg, TheStreet.com TV.